blackout is over, and we're just a couple of weeks away from the start of the NFL season. And Jets fans and players alike have a lot to be excited about. I think a lot of people will agree that the key to the Jets season this year is going to be the performance of Mark Sanchez. He had a great improvement from his first to second year, but he needs to improve just as much in his third year for us to take that next step. You need an elite quarterback to win in this league, and Sanchez has an opportunity this year to make the jump from top 15 to top 10. And in order to do that, I think he needs to improve his completion percentage and continue to increase his touchdowns slightly more while keeping his interceptions and turnovers down. If Sanchez can continue to grow, the sky's the limit for this team and this offense. With new veteran wide receivers Plaxico Burress and Derek Mason, it could be argued that this receiving core, which brings back Santonio Holmes, is actually better than last year's version of the Flight Boys. There are a number of rather unheralded players that I think have a chance to be breakout players this year for the Jets. And if they perform as possible, they could be big difference makers for us. I think one of those guys is Ropati Patoa. He's a 6'8", 315-pound defensive end. And there's been a lot of talk about him the last two seasons. Rex Ryan seems to be very high on him. Last season, a lot was expected of him, and he got hurt in the preseason, so unfortunately he missed the entire season. There's a lot of hope for this guy. He has learned to figure out how to use his leverage despite his height, and apparently he's going to be a contributor for us this season. Another potential breakout Jet is the rookie Jeremy Curley. He was the big news out of camp at the beginning. Apparently he was performing extremely well. He was performing with the number 1 and 2 units at split end, and he was also named the starter as punt returner and kick returner for the team already, all in his rookie year. Look for him to replace some of what we lost with Brad Smith's departure to Buffalo. Another player that has been highly touted by Rex Ryan is on the defensive side of the football. His name is Jamal Westerman, and he plays outside linebacker behind Brian Thomas and Calvin Pace. Bart Scott said he's the best pass rusher on the team. They hope that Westerman could replace the production lost by Jason Taylor's departure. Another young player that has a lot of hype around him because of his performance in preseason and camp is tight end Jeff Cumberland, who's a 6'4", 260-pound tight end. He's a very athletic receiving type of tight end, and he ran a 40-yard dash in an incredible 4.5 seconds, which is very fast for a man his size. He needs to improve his blocking to be able to stay on the field, but if he can do that, he could be very dangerous with us. If we can use him and Keller in 2 tight end sets, it would be a nice way to increase that completion percentage for Sanchez. Another young player who could break out this year for the Jets is a guy who kind of disappointed last year a little bit. Kyle Wilson, our first-round pick, had an up-and-down rookie season, but in the offseason he trained with Darrelle Revis. A lot more is expected of him this year. He's going to have a bigger role. On offense, fullback John Connor, the Terminator, Rex Ryan's personal pick from last year's draft, is ready to replace Tony Richardson at fullback. The Jets have a lot of confidence in this guy and believe he'll be one of the premier players at his position very soon, adding another weapon to the Jets' powerful ground and pound attack. Also this offseason, the Jets took a low-risk, potential high-reward shot at outside linebacker Aaron Maben from the Buffalo Bills, who was released after 2 very unproductive seasons since being drafted in 2009. He did not produce a sack, and he is a Golston-like bust in the eyes of Bills fans. But he has talent, and if Rex Ryan can utilize his skills, his speed could become a serious weapon for us. That's an area where we kind of struggle as a team right now. Our outside linebackers are big, old, and relatively slow, so we have trouble guarding those quick running backs, the Woodhead types. And if Aaron Maben can become a solid player for us, I think he potentially could fill that void as a quicker guy who can keep up with those guys. Gone are Cautry, Braylon Edwards, and Brad Smith, and in our veterans Derek Mason and Plaxico Burress, as well as rookie Jeremy Curley. Mason, although 37, is still a very good receiver, and his numbers are impressive. Plaxico Burress will replace Braylon Edwards as the big, tall red zone target, and he got off to a hell of a start this past Sunday against the Bengals with 3 catches going for 20 or more yards, including a spectacular touchdown catch.
If we play at our best, we will beat every team in this fucking league.
Jeremy Curley is the rookie who was the Special Teams Player of the Year 2 years in a row in this conference. He has looked like a player thus far and will be entertaining team's kick returner and punt returner. It's unfortunate that we'll be without Cautry because he was a great Jet and Braylon played very well for us. But I think this edition of the flight crew will be very dangerous.
Last year, hey, we were under the radar. That's a good place to be. Fuck that. The best place to be is when expectations are high. Get used to it. It's always going to be that way. And now let's go out and prove everybody right. We know we're better than you. We don't give a fuck if you know it or not. We don't give a shit if you give us your best game. We're going to give you our best game, and we're going to beat the fuck out of you. How's that? Let's go get it.
The effectiveness of the offense is what's going to determine how far this team goes this year. Rex will have this team's defense ready to go, and it will be near the top of most defensive categories, as it always is, since he's come to the Jets. If we get lucky and don't suffer any major injuries, this team will be a Super Bowl contender. I predict we will be playing the Green Bay Packers in February in the first annual Go Green Bowl.